Now, interpolation. Interpolation is the process of estimating the values of a function f of x for argument between x naught xn to xn, at which the value of x naught to xn are what are known. Now, looking at the equation here, ph is equal to what pn minus what p naught. So making p solve the formula, which means divided by the coefficient of p, we having what x subscript p minus x subscript 0 or not divided by what h. Now these values, all these letters, they simply means your h there simply means the rate at which your interval increase. Like for example, you can take 1 and 2 as your interval. So what is the rate at which they increase? Now you can say the rate at which it increases is 0.5. That means at every the value increase at the rate of 0.5. For example, from 1 to 1.5, from 1.5 to what to 2. So that is what the h simply means. Now my x naught simply means, now or before that, my xp simply means the value you are given to that you are asked to look for, which is, for example, if you're asked to solve the square root of what, the square root of 2 point something, or the square root of 1.125, or the square root of 1.10. So when you are asked to solve that, the value you are asked to solve, it simply means or represent your xp. Now your x naught is that value that you are asked to solve, the range at which, because if you check the table, there's a possibility that that value will does not that the value is not actually on the table, but it exists in between two values. So you take the upper value as your what, as your x naught. Now let's dive in. Now look, before that, looking at the first, which is the forward interpolation formula, which is fp is equal to f naught plus what p forward f naught plus p bracket p minus 1 delta square, which is forward square f naught divided by what 2 factorial plus 2 bracket p minus p bracket p minus 1 p minus 2 bracket delta raised by 3 f naught divided by what 3 factorial plus p bracket p minus 1 p minus 1 p minus 2 p minus 2 p minus 3 delta 4 f naught all over what 4 factorial plus infinity. That means it can go more than this. So now let's dive in into a question. Now you are given a question. For example, now this is a question. Example: generate the values of y of x is equal to square root of x listed in the table below, which is, it must be a table. Round off to what 5 decimal places for argument. So they're asking us to x is equals to 1.00 bracket 0.05 close bracket 1.30. Calculate the difference of delta 6 and interpolate for the square root of 1.01. The square root of 1.01. First, you are supposed to solve or form a table using the parameters given. Now, with the parameters we are having, so now they said from what we have here, the argument was what y is equals to what x is equals to what 1.00 bracket 0.05 bracket close 1.30. Now with the argument we're having here, they said we should what calculate the difference of delta 6 and interpolate what for 1.01. So therefore now you have to calculate y is equals to 1, because now if you check This is what the question actually means. Said you should start from 1 and end in 1.13, and the rate at which this 1.00 move to 1.33 should be 0.05. So that is how we got the 1, the 1, the rate, then it increased with 0.05, so we got 1.05, 1.10, 1.15, 1, sorry, 1.15, 1.20, 1.25, and what? 1.30. Now, what next? The question also said generate the values of y of x is equals to square root of what? Y, square root of x. Now, and they said you should what? Round off to 5 decimal places. So we're expected to round off to 5 decimal places. So when you press square root of 1, it will give you actually 1. We have to round off to 5 decimal places, which simply means put 5 zeros. Or if there's no zero, if for example you got the square root of 4, example, the square root of 4 is equal to what? 2. So you put what? 5 zeros after the 2. That simply means round up to 5 decimal places. So now, when we press the square root of 1